Hello, true health seeker. Have you ever thought about becoming a health coach? Do you love learning about nutrition and how we can shift our lifestyle and our diet so that we can gain optimal health and happiness and longevity? Do you love helping your friends and family to solve their health problems and to figure out what they can do to eat healthier? Are you interested in becoming someone who can grow their own business, support people in their success? Do you love helping people? You might be the perfect candidate to become a health coach. I highly recommend checking out the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I just spent the last year in their health coaching certification program, and it really blew me away. It was so amazing. I learned over 100 dietary theories. I learned all about nutrition, but from a standpoint of how we can help people to shift their life and shift their lifestyle to gain true holistic health. I definitely recommend you check them out. You can Google Institute for Integrative Nutrition or IIN and give them a call, or you can go to learntruehealth.com/coach and you can receive a free module of their training to check it out and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. Be sure to mention my name, Ashley James, and the Learn True Health podcast, because I made a deal with them that they will give you the best price possible. I highly recommend checking it out. It really changed my life to be in their program, and I'm such a big advocate that I wanted to spread this information. We need more health coaches. In fact, health coaching is the largest growing career right now in the health field. So many health coaches are getting in and helping people because you can work in chiropractic offices, doctors' offices, you can work in hospitals, you can work online through Skype and help people around the world. You can become an author, you can go into the school system and help your local schools shift their programs to help children be healthier. You can go into senior centers and help them to shift their diet and lifestyle to best support them in their success and their health goals. There's so many different available options for you when you become a certified health coach. So check out IIN, check out the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, mention my name, get the best deal. Give them a call and they'll give you lots of free information and help you to see if this is the right move for you. Classes are starting soon. The next round of classes are starting at the end of the month. So you're going to want to call them now and check it out. And if you know anyone in your life who would be an amazing coach, please tell them about it. Being a health coach is so rewarding and you get to help so many people. Have a fantastic day and enjoy this amazing interview. Welcome to the Learn True Health podcast. I'm your host, Ashley James. This is episode 211. I am so excited for our next guest. We have a wonderful health advocate, a wonderful health coach on the show, a holistic health coach, which are my favorite kind of health coaches. Is there any other kind of health coach, Tracee? I don't know. I have a wonderful guest, Tracee Gluhaich. She is also a podcaster and a personal trainer, and she's here today to let's get into a bit of the mindset when it comes to health, because it really does start with the mindset. She's here to teach us some wonderful techniques. Her website is highenergygirl.com, and don't we all want to be a high energy girl? Or for the men, they want to be with a higher energy girl. So there you go. Thanks and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm super excited to be here for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on your podcast. That was really fun to be on your podcast. So once that episode comes out, I'll let the listeners know about that in our Facebook group, the Learn True Health Facebook group. And anyone can join it. Just go to Learn True Health /group, or you can go into the Facebook and search for Learn True Health and join the group. I like to post lots of things there, and we'll definitely be posting the links to the interviews that when I was on your show, Tracee. I love your show. I love that it centers around the ketogenic diet, which is such a healing diet and also a very misunderstood diet. So I like busting myths around that. So that was a lot of fun. But today you're here to share with us about aging and health. And you know, I'm I'm about to be 40. That's the first time I've ever said that out loud, but I'm 37. So it's like, I can't say I'm in my, mid 30s anymore. Technically, I'm about to be 38. And I've been thinking about this actually for a while because I want to have another child, and it's like the timing. You kind of want to do it before your 40s, but nowadays with nutrition, we can definitely have healthy kids into our 40s. But there's that stigma. You want to get all your kids out of the way in your 30s. And so I'm coming into my 40s thinking about what's the next 100 years of my life going to look like, and how do I want to set up my health for success. I know 70-year-olds who are running marathons and 70-year-olds that are in wheelchairs. We really need to turn our life into something that fosters health. I want to be the 70-year-old running marathons. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about how can we set our life up so that we're the 70-year-old or the 80-year-old or the 90-year-old. There's great videos on Facebook I've been seeing where there's 90-year-old marathon runners that didn't start running till they're 69 years old. So I love that it's never too late concept, but how do we start? How do we start now so that in 30 years from now or 50 years from now, we have even better health than we did the day we started? And you're here to share that with us today, which is really exciting. But I'd love to start by you sharing your story. Like, what led you into becoming a holistic health coach and becoming a personal trainer and loving working with women, middle-aged women, helping them to foster the next 50 to 100 years of their life into better health. And I'm not joking when I say 100 years, because I think we have the genetic potential to live well beyond 120 years. It's been proven, and we just there's definitely lifestyle shifts that we can make to help our DNA accomplish that. Isn't that true?
Oh my gosh, it is so true. And when you said that you wanted to be the 90-year-old marathoner, I want to be the 90-year-old weightlifter. I want to be the one that's in the gym, pumping the iron, flexing the guns, and feeling empowered and strong as a woman.
Nice. And don't you teach your clients how to get there and do that?
That is my purpose. Yeah, just to show them how they can grow stronger. And one of my favorite stories to use is there was this woman named Willie Murphy who walked into her local YMCA, which I'm an instructor at our local Y, when she was 74. And there was a sign on the door and it said weightlifting competition. And so she asked the kid behind the desk if she could participate. And he looked at her and he said, "Yeah, go for it, Granny." Well, she started with 5-pound dumbbells. Okay. 74 years
Yes.
old. Fast forward 4 years, she can now deadlift more than twice her body weight. And she's like, she's amazing, like this beast in the gym. She can deadlift 220 pounds and she's 77 years old.
And that sets her up for such great health. One of the first things I learned when going to a holistic doctor back in the 2008, I think it was, she was in her 70s. She looked like she was 50. And she would run in the Nevada desert and bicycle, cyclist in the Nevada desert. And then outdoors, she would lift her weights outdoors in the hot desert, heat. She was a sucker for punishment, but she seriously did not look a day over 50, and she was in her 70s, and she was in the Olympics several times. And
Wow.
she was an MD who gave up her medical license when she figured out that she was basically a drug pusher, and decided to become a holistic doctor, more like a health coach. But she went through all the schooling, but she learned all about nutrition. And she said the first thing you want to do is get muscle mass on you. You want to, like everyone is concerned about BMI, like how much body fat do you have? But yes, that's okay as one of the measurements. But she said what you really want to see is what a percentage of muscle mass you have, because that will determine later on in your life how healthy you are. Because if you get sick, your body relies on that as your immune system. There's a direct relationship between like 70-year-olds with lots of muscle, like healthy muscle mass, healthy lean muscle mass, will survive illnesses, and those who don't are the ones that die because of an illness.
Yeah.
And
because
that
they're
was like,
wasting away.
yeah, that just really shocked me. Like, wow, like we've got to, she's like, you got to start now. Like everyone needs to start building healthy muscle. We don't have to be bulgy, but healthy levels of lean muscle mass will equal health the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally believe that. And I think it also contributes to your mental health because it shows that you're not weak and reliant on others, you know? You
Mm-hmm.
can carry in your own groceries. You can, do chores around your property or your home that, you're not the feeble neighbor that has to bring somebody in to do it, but it's empowering mentally as well as physically.
And it builds your bone structure so that you don't get osteoporosis, or if
Yeah.
you already have osteopenia, that you can actually reverse it. There are people who have reversed osteoporosis. I mean, it does take, being consistent with all these actions, but you can. And the more you build your muscle, you have balance. If you do, it correctly, you have balance so that when you're older, you're less likely to have those falls.
Absolutely.
So it's something
Right.
good to start now. I love that you said you work at the Y, because the Y, I've been a member of like every gym under the sun you could possibly imagine, and all those corporate gyms out there. And I love the Y. I'm currently a member of the Y, and I love their gym and I love their staff. I've talked to their staff about why is it that the Y is such a great environment. And I mean, maybe it's just my Y. Maybe my Y is some magical Y, the YMCA, but it's the YMCA in Monroe, Washington, are just amazing people. And they said, people who have a bad attitude don't last here and they don't want to work here. And people who really love serving others and being part of a community end up wanting to work here. And that's the feeling I get. But all the staff in the gym love to help me. Like, I don't, they just come up to me and want to talk and want to help. And they foster an environment where you feel like you're just with your friends helping you. So I love that about the Y. And it also is not threatening. Like, the other gyms, there's a bunch of muscle bound kind of threatening people. And the people that work out of the Y, though, might seem really healthy and look really healthy, they're not like those intimidating bodybuilder types. And so I've really enjoyed, and I highly recommend checking out being a member of the Y. So there's my little plug, because it's such a health focused but also really holistic, family centered center, right? So is that your feeling of the Y as well?
Oh, I love it. Since we opened our new facility like 10 years ago, I think maybe 11 years ago, I've been a member ever since, and I've been an instructor there for the last, I think, 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a great place. My kids go there. I go there. I love like they have free childcare and they have programs to help families be members that can't afford it, which is I think that's a really
Mm-hmm.
great thing to help the community.
I love the
Um,
childcare. We go very often. My son loves it, and my husband and I will take our laptops and we drop our son off in their childcare, and then we go sit out in the lobby, which has like relaxing kind of couches and or they have meeting rooms. We've used the meeting rooms, and we'll sit there for 90 minutes and work on our or 2 hours actually, and work on the podcast or whatever we're working on our laptops, and then we go and pick our son up, and we do, they have great swimming lessons. If your Y has a pool, they have amazing swimming lessons. We've had our son in swimming lessons from other agencies, and the swimming lessons at the Y were by far the best, and he has developed as a swimmer so much faster going to the Y. So yeah, we could talk about the Y the whole episode, but yes, no, I think a lot of people don't realize that the Y is such a great fitness facility, because maybe they grew up going to the Y in the 70s or the 80s, and it's different. It's such a better place. I'm not saying it was a bad place back then, but I went to the Y in the 80s, and it was not the same. It's really evolved to support us in our health goals.
mhm. Absolutely. Instead of focusing on sales, they're focusing on service.
Yes, exactly. I did not feel pressured to join.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
cool. Well, so you're a health instructor. You've been doing that for quite a while. Tell us a bit about your earlier years that led you, like what led you down this route to want to be a personal trainer and a holistic health coach?
Well, my parents are both pretty unhealthy and they have been forever. And because of them, I've been on every single diet you can imagine. And I had two skinny best friends growing up, and I was never considered like overweight, but because they were so skinny, I felt overweight. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so I always was on a diet. And so, like, literally, probably my parents went on Atkins, I think maybe I was 8, and I was on it, with them, quote unquote. Um, and just growing up, I always like exercised a ton, and but I was always like on and off diets, feast or famine, just up and down on the scale. And I just got tired of it. And I raised my kids on, the typical standard American diet of kid cuisine, fast food, Tony's pizza, chicken nuggets, soda. I mean, I did everything the way my mom did it. And looking back, I wish I would have done it differently. But I started studying nutrition about 10 years ago in 2007. And I just got really absorbed about, for all my life, I was kind of starving my body. And
Mm.
when I started learning about cellular nutrition, I started realizing that, we need to feed our body proper nutrients so that when our cells, renew and divide every minute of every hour, that they thrive instead of being sick. And so I just started kind of down that journey, started learning about that, really just focusing on nutrition. And I've always loved fitness. So that was kind of the easy piece for me. Was fitness has always been a part of my life since I can remember. But then I started still thinking I was doing everything right, but having the, menopause weight gain. And that was when it went crazy because I just started gaining weight, even though I was exercising every day. And my waist appeared out of nowhere. I never had like a lot of belly fat. And all of a sudden I did. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So that's when I started, looking deeper about what to do. And I made a bunch of mistakes. Oh my gosh, I made mistakes. Having like this hormone implant done was the worst. I gained like 13 pounds
Wow.
in 3 weeks. So that was a nightmare. And then I stumbled upon the ketogenic diet, and that combined with a food sensitivity testing that I did, I am doing much, much better and finally on the proper path of healing.
For those who don't know what keto is, or maybe they think they do, but they don't know the full picture, can you give us a summary? Because I think people imagine like just lots of bacon and lots of meat, and they don't like, they, or lots of dairy, like they don't get that it's a healing diet, because it sounds a lot like this very unhealthy version of Atkins. So like enlighten us. What does it look like to eat the ketogenic way?
Well, the way I do it now, and this is evolved, okay? So there's ways I have people get started on it, but then there's where I'm at now. So where I'm at now is I basically wake up in the morning, I drink a large glass of water, I put some lemon and salt in it so that I can replace electrolytes, have a cup of coffee with a teaspoon of MCT oil, and then go to the gym. And then I come home and I basically don't eat until lunch. So that's like it's called intermittent fasting. And then I will have a healthy lunch of like vegetables, protein, and like oil of some sort. And then I will have like a healthy dinner. But basically, keto is a high fat, moderate protein, low carb approach to eating. And I don't like to call it a diet because when people experience the health benefits of eating this way, they oftentimes don't want to change. And so it's a lifestyle. And I'm into quality over quantity. So when I have like my healthy food list, it's like the grass-fed meats, the Kerrygold butter and cheese if your body can tolerate it. We have chicken, so we have our farm fresh eggs, and it's a very whole food, healthy way of eating.
Now you, unlike most of us, you've created something that I'm actually, in a good way, quite jealous of. This is something that I want. This is a goal that I want to have. You live on a small organic farm, isn't that correct?
Yes,
And
yes.
so, is this a farm that is growing food simply to sustain your family, or do you sell some of your produce?
Yeah, it's just for us for now. So, because we're both so busy with our careers that we don't really have time to delve into that, we have donated a lot of fruit because, especially now that I'm not eating it, but 80 fruit trees is a lot. So,
That is not a small, you call it a small farm. 80 fruit trees is not, okay, in my mind, is not a small farm. I love that you donate your food. Who do you donate it to?
just random people, like I'll bring it to the gym and just bring a whole box and everybody can take what they want. Or I'm in sales for dental, I'll just bring it to work and, pass it out to offices. So, but I want to find like a place. I heard there was a place that they'll come actually pick the fruit and then take it and feed families with it. So
Yes.
that way we are not doing all the labor because that's brutal.
Yeah, there are networks. I forget the name of it right now, but my friend told me about it. That there are networks of people who grow their own gardens in their backyard. They could be an acre, half an acre, 2 acres, but they all grow, and then they network with each other so that they can donate to the churches or to the food banks, or to the homeless shelters, the soup kitchens. And so there are like these networks of people that will volunteer to help get that going, so that the homeless people or the people in need, the people who are on disability, can gain access to a clean, healthy, vibrant, nourishing food. And I'll ask her what it's called, and put it in the show notes of the podcast if I can get that. But we could probably Google it, probably call around to some soup kitchens or some food banks, and they'll probably be able to point us in the right direction.
That's a
Uh,
great idea.
yeah, but that's very cool. So you have fruit trees. Do you grow any vegetables?
Yes, my husband loves to grow things. So I was taking tomatoes to the gym and passing those out as well. And zucchinis I keep because they're keto and I love zucchinis, but I wasn't really eating much tomato because of the sugar content. But my friends at the gym sure loved it. So, but now he's going to grow for winter. It will be like cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage.
Oh, those are my favorite. You just listed my favorite vegetables. The
Mine
cruciferous
too.
vegetables, like they are so good for us, especially if you're estrogen dominant. They're such wonderful healing superfoods. So I'm gonna have to come over to your place because it sounds delicious.
Feel free. There's plenty to go around. I mean, people love it when they see me walking around with my big old bowl.
Now, like, I think it would be so healthy if we came back to the era of victory gardens. In World War I and World War II, we were encouraged to, all of us have, regardless of how big or small our back or front yard was, to just take away the lawn and turn it into a garden so that we could support the war effort. Even Eleanor Roosevelt, that is when the garden in the White House became a thing, and the certain people in the government didn't want her to do it because they thought it would harm the food industry. But she said, "No, if we're telling everyone to have a victory garden, we need to do one too." And so that's when they started the garden in the White House to feed the people in the White House, or to at least subsidize their food. What's amazing about growing your own food, and you could, even if you live in an apartment and have a balcony, you can start growing kale in a kitty tub. You can just get one of those round kitty pools, fill it with dirt, and start growing your own kale. It's amazing how much money you save on organic vegetables when you start growing your own food. But for those who've never grown vegetables and maybe do have the resources to do it, what's some advice that that you can give us, that or you think that your husband would give us, in terms of how starting a garden?
Oh, wow. That's a tough one for me because he does it all.
He does it all.
But I do know that, it's pretty easy to grow outside if you have the right climate. But you want to make sure you prepare your soil correctly. That's like the biggest thing,
Mm.
because oftentimes the soil is just kind of, like dirt and it's not nourished soil. And so, that saying that says you are what you eat, well, you also are what your food eats. And so for
Yes.
your right? So your plants, if they're not grown in a proper soil, then they are going to be kind of lacking the micronutrients that your body needs. And unfortunately, traditional fertilizers only have like, what is it? Three
NPK.
minerals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
NPK. That's right.
So
Yep.
so you need to have a better organic type of fertilizer that actually can really nourish the soil so that your plants can suck up that nourishment. That's what my
Absolutely.
husband's into.
Oh, that's
So,
so cool. Well, so the biggest advice is get a husband that'll do it.
yeah.
But barring that, I think that's actually really smart. When my mom, she didn't have a vegetable garden. She had a plant, like a flower garden, during the summer up in Canada, and she was having difficulty, getting stuff to really take, you know, be vibrant. And so she took some soil samples and went to the local greenhouse, and they said, "Oh, your soil is too acidic because it's near a bunch of pine trees, and the pine makes it like the any soils near pine trees is more acidic, and so here's the minerals that you can add to it." And also they looked at the soil samples and said this your soil needs more clay, your soil's too sandy. And so there's things that a really great greenhouse can do to help you figure out what you need to add to your soil. But if you're starting with like a pot, because even you could just grow tomatoes in a pot in your home, you just buy like the organic, wonderful, like rich black soil to start with that's full of minerals. But I love your advice. That's great. We want to start with the healthy soil because we want to foster healthy plants. But I challenge listeners just to grow something, because it's amazing how great it tastes, and the nutrients that are in there. And also you can really save a lot of money on vegetables when you grow your own food. I'm sure you're excited for your husband to grow all those vegetables this winter.
Yeah, and you know what, another thing, Ashley, I would do is what happens in my home is when you buy like a six pack of plants, it's a lot of one thing. So I would trade with your friends. Like, you buy a six pack,
Ah,
you plant three of this and then swap out three for one of your neighbor's six packs, you
right. Because
know?
if you have 6 tomato plants, I mean, you possibly can't eat all the tomatoes that are coming ripe at that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, three might be more manageable, or maybe even two, or sometimes one, just depending, on how many tomatoes you eat. So yeah, get your friends involved. I love that. I think getting your friends involved in any health venture, it creates a support system. So whether
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
going to the gym, go to the gym with your friends and get more than one friend, because if you just have one friend and then they kind of like poop out, then that's a good excuse for you to poop out. But if you've got like 6 friends going to the gym together, then at least if like 5 will poop out, and then you've got that one friend that's going to stick with you. So yeah, getting a group of friends to start gardens together, or to have chickens, or to have an egg share, or that's a great idea. I've seen that in certain countries in Europe. Every house grows one vegetable, and then they all share. So your yard could be broccoli, and the yard next to you is zucchini, and you just go down the street and everyone shares each other's bounty.
Oh, that's another way to do it. Yeah, that would be
Mhm.
good too. But as far as the gym thing, what I've noticed in my experience, because the gym is, one of my really strong points,
Mhm.
is I have one workout partner because if I flake on her, she's alone. So we
Oh.
never flake on each other ever.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm really run by my emotions, and I'm kind of, I don't know if it's because I'm Canadian, but I like really worry about like other people being affected by my actions. You know what I mean? So
Uh,
I would overcome my desire to not go to the gym if I knew that my not being there was going to harm you in some way, that was going to make
yeah,
you sad in some way. Then I would go, okay, fine, whatever. I'm going to get off my butt, because I really don't want to let you down. So I can
right.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, so I mean this morning I didn't want to go because I had a bad night's sleep last night for whatever reason, and I pulled myself together, put on my big girl pants and I just went and we had a great workout. So
Where do we go to buy these big girl pants? Like, where where do we get these big girl pants? We really need to pull them on when it comes to making these hard choices in the moment. I recently interviewed a yoga teacher, and she said, yoga's for everyone, but it's not for the lazy. And I
Yeah.
thought, man, that's like health. Health is for everyone can get health, but it's not for the lazy. Like, we got to sometimes really do the work.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But the way I always look at it is when I am laying in bed and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to get up and go. I imagine, and you can appreciate this, I imagine what I'm going to feel like if I quit, if I don't go, and then what I'm going to feel like if I go. And the getting out of bed part is just a blip in time, but it's going to change the trajectory of my day and make me feel better if I go.
Yes. I always am happy I went to the gym, but I'm seldom happy that I didn't go to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, me too.
Where
Me too.
where can people start if they're totally at the beginning and, maybe like I know a lot of people would love to do weightlifting, but they're afraid because they have no idea how all these machines work and that's kind of intimidating. Like where should people start?
Well, okay, so we're talking about lifting weights in particular. I would say if you are brand new and you walk into a gym and you go, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to do. There's oftentimes you can, like at our gym, you can have 2 or 3 free sessions with a wellness coach, and they will set you up on a program, and everything's all computerized in the computer system. So it's pretty easy to stick to it and follow it, and they'll set everything up for you.
And I like the YMCA's app that I know it crashes often, but when it does work, the app has all the exercises with like a video of someone doing it, and you can actually see the exercise, and then you can record your reps and your sets and your weight and all that on it. And I enjoyed that because when I was first getting back into the gym, I was overwhelmed. Like oh, there's 30 machines here. I just kind of get an
Yeah,
overwhelm, and then I would just go on the treadmill the entire time because those machines are overwhelming when you look at all of them. But when you're
right.
like, okay, go to machine number 1 and set the weight to 15 pounds and then just do this for 10 times. Okay, I can do that. It's like baby steps. I can do that. And then you get into
Right.
this routine where now it just is not overwhelming. What are the most common things you teach women when they're first getting into this new way, this like they're first getting into the gym as a concept to help them for their health?
Well, the first thing I do really is focus on their mindset with goal setting. The second thing we work on is nutrition. The third thing we work on is the weights, but it's about looking at what they want to create and I always have them look a year in advance. So, and that's like their mindset piece. But then just the physical fitness component of it, what I like to do is design a balanced program where they lift a couple days a week, do cardio a few days a week, and then do some yoga
Mm-hmm.
and stretching and mindfulness. So when they're in the gym lifting, if they're a complete beginner, we usually start with the machine so that their body muscles can learn the actual proper movements. And I believe in lifting weights slowly so that you engage in like the concentric attraction when the muscle shortens. And like say, if you're imagining a bicep curl, so you lift the weight, you squeeze your bicep, and then you lower it really slowly. So you're working the shortening of the muscle and then the lengthening of the muscle slowly. And so you're in control, which will help you get stronger faster. It will decrease your risk of injury, and it will be more efficient in your exercise because you're not just dropping the weight. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, that makes sense. You want to. I've done that. Where you just lift it up and then you like let it down, lift it up and let it down. But it's the slowly letting it down is just as important as slowly bringing the weight up because it's in the elongation that you're
Right.
also building muscle and breathing through. Because I've caught myself holding my breath while lifting weights, and we want to breathe, right?
Oh, absolutely. Your exhale is your power. So you can even like if you're lifting heavy, which I don't recommend beginners, but some people listening are probably not beginners. But if you're lifting heavy, you can power up, but you want to go slow down. But you want to do both. Like there's many different methodologies and you want to mix it up frequently. So you can do like a power up and then a slow down, or you can do a slow up, squeeze in the full contraction, and then bring it down because you really want that mind muscle connection so that you can make the most out of each workout.
Got it. Now, you said you start with mindset, you start with goal setting. Why is it so important? I mean, some people kind of go, yeah, goal setting. Everyone talks about goal setting. Like, tell me about what's going to make a difference. Like, let's skip that fluffy part. Let's just jump into the gym. But why is it so important to start with your first step being setting goals to the long-term success of what they want to physically accomplish, which is their health?
Well, in my opinion, it's because people need to see what's possible. And then when they want to throw in the towel, if they are reading their goals daily, which I think is ideal, if they're reading their goals daily and they're envisioning this is what they want to create for their future, whether it's fitness or a relationship or anything in their life that they're trying to manifest, I think it's good for them to read that, believe it, feel it, so that they're more committed to what they want to achieve. So when the day gets hard and they want to throw in the towel, that they realize, well, gosh, this is what I'm giving up. Like this future vision of myself is what I'm giving up. And so they're looking forward instead of just at now. You know what I mean? So maybe they're too tired to get out of bed today, but when they want to just like throw in the full towel, they're not just giving up their workout today, they're giving up what they're trying to create.
They're giving up that dream in life that they realize that they have.
Absolutely, their full potential. And so many people get to a certain age, like that's why I really want to help middle-aged women, these women in the middle years like me. I'm 52, but I can run circles around a lot, people 10, 15, 20 years younger than me, and it's possible. Like I said with, that lady at the beginning, that I think people give up and they live a sedentary life and they think, oh, it's too late. I'm just, going downhill and I'm going to die. But that
Mm.
doesn't have to be that way. My own mom, she acts that way. Like she's just pretty much given up and she's only like 74.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad.
It is so sad. You're right.
Yeah.
It's I get so sad when I see the older people in my life who are not wanting to live to their full potential. And then I see like the example of this holistic doctor who she's still today just as vibrant and as strong, and she's in her 80s as she was when I first met her, and she could run circles around 20-year-olds. And
Yeah.
and that's the kind of life I want. She's like squeezing every drop of life out of her life. And I like that saying, like I want to go out being fully, I want to leave this world fully used up. I want to
Yeah.
live and experience everything. Um but a lot of people don't have goals in their future, and so they don't know what they're living for, or they don't have a direction. They're kind of just drifting, adrift in life. So could you walk us through some steps as to how our listeners could create, now that we're 2018 is upon us? Could you walk us through creating a goal, so at the beginning of 2019, so all of 2018 we can read our goal every day for 2019?
So are you saying to like, how would I coach somebody on that?
Yeah, could you coach our listeners?
Yes. So what I would say is to write a story to yourself, but it's in like third person. So, well, I think you'd call it third person, but essentially like I would say, well, it's December of 2018 and I'm starting to do the Christmas decorations, and this is how I feel and this is how I look and this is what's happening in my life. So it's written in present tense, but it's a year from now. And how do you want to feel? How do you want to look? How do you want your health to be? How do you want your life to be different? What do you want to do a year from now that you can't currently do? Maybe it's just, fitting. Like I interviewed somebody the other day for my podcast who was saying he just wanted to fit into an airplane seat comfortably without feeling like he was crowding somebody next to him. Somebody else said they wanted to go on a roller coaster with their grandchild.
Mm.
So what is it you want to do that's going to make your life sincerely different? I mean, weight loss is great, but what is that weight loss going to give you that you don't currently have? I think people put so much emphasis on the number on the scale instead of that, how their new body, their healthier body is going to change their life and improve the quality of every day.
Mm-hmm.
And read that vision statement. Your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. And if you read it every morning when you get up, you'll set your path in motion for good habits that day. If you read it every night before you go to bed, it will embed into your subconscious mind and it will become a part of who you are.
Wonderful. I love it. That's really great advice to state it in the present. So like it is 2000 is January 1st, 2019, and I can deadlift 200 pounds, and I can uh I can comfortably sit on an airplane without the seatbelt extender, and I can run around the backyard with my grandchildren. Would it be like, or with my children? Is that
Yeah.
like what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. How and just envision all of the benefits that you're going to receive. Because I think, like I said, people focus on, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Well, that's great. But how does that feel?
Mm-hmm.
Feelings are such a better way to connect to the emotion of the outcome than just it being kind of a, objective outcome of, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put in some juicy details so we can create emotion and be more attached and committed to achieving that outcome. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely, because once we have emotion involved, because it's emotion that talked us out of going to the gym,
Right.
right? I mean, I'd rather lie in bed, so I'm not going to go to the gym, or it was the emotion that, or maybe the emotion that talked us out of that diet, or talked us out of our. I shouldn't, not that I shouldn't use diet, but if we're eating a healthy way, maybe it was our need for instant gratification and that emotion in the moment that wanted the chocolate cake and the ice cream instead of sticking to our healthy eating routine. And so it's that instant gratification in the moment, that little, I call it my brat. It's like Ashley, the little 7-year-old brat that wants what she wants, and she wants it right now. And the brat wants chocolate and ice cream and to lie in bed and watch movies all day long. And the brat does not want to go to the gym or eat vegetables or, you know what I mean? Do healthy things. And so I have to recognize that there's this part of me that is that instant gratification emotion, and that does not serve me in the long run. Because if I follow down that rabbit hole and only do what I want, when I want it, I'm going to end up, in a wheelchair when I'm 70, and not pumping iron when I'm 70. And I just know that, right? It's those little tiny actions that add up into the big outcome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I've got to catch myself and have the emotional intelligence, and like you suggest, read our goal to ourselves every day so we can become aware of, what long term, this is what I really want for myself. And so I can calm the little internal brat and tell the little brat that she can have a half an hour of TV tonight or whatever, but she's not gonna get her way all day long.
I love that word, the little brat. I love it. But the other thing is also being mindful because I mean, haven't you opened the refrigerator when you're not hungry just because you're just walking around and you just go and reach for like something? Like for me, it's nuts. I cannot eat nuts because if I start eating them, I just keep going after them because it's not mindful. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
people say a serving of nuts is like 1 ounce or 2 ounces. I'm like, who, on what planet? On what planet? It's a bag of nuts for a reason. The entire bag is the serving. What are you talking about? Yeah, you're supposed to eat like a shot glass of nuts. I'm like, you just broke the seal. It's like popcorn. You can't have like a handful of popcorn. You have to have a bowl of popcorn. So yeah, I do not eat popcorn. Um,
Yeah.
I like putting nuts into something. So then it's easier. Like if seeds or nuts are like in my salad,
Right.
then it's then I can't eat the whole bag because I'm like, I'm eating a salad over here, not a whole bag of cashews. So yeah, I absolutely know what you're talking about. Like my husband told me that he can't have cookies, and this is early on in our marriage. He can't have cookies in the house because the bag has to be eaten. If you open a bag of cookies, the entire box has to be eaten. And this is his philosophy. Like if you have ice cream in the house, the entire thing has to be eaten in one sitting. And that was his philosophy that I learned very quickly. There are things we just could not have in the house because there was no stopping once you got started. And sugar does that. A lot of times it's the fructose in the food that overrides our brain into tricking us to making us not feel we're full. But nuts are just so much fun and so unconscious. You could just sit there with a bowl of nuts watching TV, and no matter how big that bowl was, you could complete it. So I absolutely agree with you. I catch myself eating when I'm bored or eating when I'm thirsty. And if I'm not conscious, I'll go look to food, even if it's healthy food, it's still not what my body needed. And so, yeah, I've had to catch myself and go, am I actually hungry? Do I actually need fuel? Or is this a need for maybe a stimulus like reading a book or having a conversation or going for a walk? Or do I need to, is this thirst? And so be, like you said, becoming aware and becoming conscious instead of going unconscious. That is very important.
Yeah, I think it's important to be mindful and that's not just with food, but in everything we do in life, because I think that because we all live in busy land, we've been so into multitasking to be more efficient, but it's created a lot of mindless activities in our life.
Mm, mm,
So,
mm-hmm.
and one thing
Absolutely.
about the sugar, Ashley, is I just posted a quote, seriously, like a couple days ago, that from Dr. Mark Hyman, and he says, sugar is 8 times as addictive as cocaine, which lights up only one spot of pleasure in the brain. However, sugar lights up the brain like a pinball machine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a physiological response to sugar that people have, and sometimes they think it's their willpower, which it could be
Right.
willpower a little bit too, but it's really physiological.
Mm-hmm. I have a Facebook friend that said I'm on a sugar detox and I'm only eating fruit and his fruit was like the first thing he mentioned. I'm only eating fruit and vegetables and healthy meat, whatever. And I commented and I said, you're on a sugar detox. You should avoid fruit right now. And he goes, and then his response was like defending fruit, like, well, but fruit's healthy sugar. And I'm kind of like, well, how much are you eating? Because people go on a sugar detox and then they eat like 5 bananas a day, or like apples, bananas, oranges, grapes, and they become like the fruitarian overnight. Because, or if you see an alcoholic do this, alcoholics will, and look at Alcoholics Anonymous. They serve donuts, cookies. They put tons of sugar in their coffee, and to the human liver, alcohol and sugar is the same thing because the body converts alcohol into sugar. And so when you stop drinking alcohol, the person is still addicted to sugar, but they're no longer getting drunk or making like they're no longer harming themselves in the way that alcohol does or being drunk does, but they then a lot of times will still eat sugar, and they say, well, eating sugar is like not going to make me crash my car and kill someone, so that's fine. But what they don't realize is their body is still getting the addictive components. It's still addicted to sugar. And so we need to look at like how much am I getting, and you can even get too much from fruit, and
Right.
it's pretty amazing because people think, well, I mean, fruit is healthy, but we were never meant to eat it all year round. We're only like, as being someone who has a organic fruit farm, it doesn't it doesn't, we weren't meant to eat it all the time, all year round. It was only meant to be eaten when it was ready to be consumed, and like berries or when they're in season. Um, and so traditionally we would eat fruit when we came upon it in nature, and we'd gorge on it so that we could gain the weight that we needed to gain to survive the fasts, the times of famine. But that most cultures, for thousands of years, didn't eat fruit all the time, and some cultures ate no fruit, right? So this idea that we should have access to the same fruit, like right now, grapes are not in season where I am, but they get shipped in from Brazil. And how healthy is that really, to ship
Yeah.
something halfway across the world? So you have to look at like what that's why eating locally is so healthy, right? So
Right.
it's that how fresh is it, and how close is it to us, and how in season. But yes, you've got me started on fruit and sugar because it's going on a sugar fast was the best thing I ever did.
A sugar fast?
Yeah, no, like going on a like just cutting out before I went keto. I just cut out all sugar. Just no
Oh,
processed sugar at all because actually what I found out later on is I am allergic to cane sugar. Anything from the cane plant, the sugar cane plant, I have an allergic response to. I'm like, no wonder I act
really?
like a yeah. My body was, and so is my husband. My husband and I are both allergic to anything from the sugarcane plant. Like I can have beet sugar, right, if I needed to, but I don't. So I went on a sugar fast. So I looked at every single product and I got rid of if it was like a pasta sauce or a hot sauce and it had sugar as a any ingredient, I got rid of it. Any seasoning in my any spices, I got rid of it. Like I just did a complete sugar fast out of my life. And this is at a time when I used to put like gobs of sugar in my coffee. So I had to switch to stevia. No honey, no agave, no sugar, and just focused on whole foods. And that was like, luckily I did that because it allowed me to see, wow, just how much sugar we consume. That's in everything.
Right.
And and then of course that made it so much easier to go the ketogenic route because I was already avoiding sugar. But doing a sugar fast, it's like a sugar detox, a sugar cleanse, and you see just how much is has become in our life, right? So, and sugar it feeds the body in such a way that leads to cancer, that leads to multiple diseases. It's not a healthy thing to consume at the level that we're consuming it.
Right. And you like one of my big things is when they started taking out the fat and like they told everybody
Yes.
they needed to do non-fat, that's when if you go on the CDC website and see the PowerPoint, you can see how our country became obese because they replaced the fat with sugar.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
And
low fat items have high sugar content because they add sugar to make it taste good.
right,
Yeah.
right. And have you seen that PowerPoint on the CDC website?
I have not. You're gonna have to give me the link to it. I'll put it in the show notes. But I believe you. I absolutely believe you because I remember the '80s, like the low fat muffins were just chock full of sugar, and they touted it as being healthy, and then we all got diabetes and gained weight, and we wonder why did we gain so much weight between the '80s and '90s when really we were going on this low fat kick, and why was it that diabetes and heart disease was continuing to rise while we were starving our bodies of fat?
Yeah, that's true. And then we tripled, I would say, I'm going to guess, I can't remember the exact number, but I think we tripled the obesity rate in the country
Mm-hmm.
when all that happened. And thankfully, it's starting to come back in the mainstream, but that's why like I'm just on my little pedestal preaching keto to everyone because I mean, I just feel like this is a way that people can eat and heal their bodies naturally and eat food that actually tastes good. Right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I
But a
remember
lot of
being
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of women, especially if they're like in their 40s or 50s or 60s, they might think that it's too late for them to make these changes, or they've been eating a certain way for so long or cooking a certain way that they couldn't make these changes, or that they've been living so long doing a certain thing that the idea of keto or weightlifting or these health changes that you teach seems impossible. How do you overcome that with your clients? How do you help them to see that it is not only possible but allow them to experience incredible health benefits?
Well, number one, I show them other people as examples who have
Mm-hmm.
changed their lives and talk to them about how if one person can do it, another one can as well, and just seeing the possibility. I can't remember the name right now, but there was the guy who broke Roger Bannister who broke the 4-minute mile record
Yes.
that they thought was not humanly possible. And then after he broke that record, it just kept getting broken again and again and again because now people realized it was possible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's step one is showing them the possibility. And step two, just talking about the time is going to pass. And if you are on a trend downhill right now, and in a year from now, you're going to be farther down that hill, do you like what you see? And let's work together hand in hand. And I can help you through this journey about eating healthy, having a positive mindset, and building strength so that you can be stronger and feel better and have more energy every day.
Wonderful. I love it. Now, you have a course you're coming out with. I thought it was a little risque, where it's a keto pause, no men allowed.
You get it? It's a play on
I
words. You
know,
take out, oh.
keto pause. I love it, but no men allowed. So you're really, this is just for women. Why is
Yep.
that? Why did you decide to make your course exclusively for women?
Because I wanted them to have a safe place
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't have to worry about judgment. They didn't have to worry about anybody hearing, any men seeing what they wanted to ask, what they wanted to say. I want to talk about intimate issues with women so that, vaginal health, breast health, like things that, might not be comfortable for men, and just really help them just change the path that they're on and feel empowered. And it's very going to be very specific to women, right? So we're not all created equal. And a program that I would design for a woman that's in perimenopause or menopause or postmenopause like myself is going to be very different than a program I would design for a man. And so this is going to be very specific for women in those middle years.
Now, have you had the experience of women with having hot flashes once they do the ketogenic diet, that their hot flashes go away? Have you had that experience with your clients?
Yes, and for myself as well.
I
So,
love that, because the body needs that healthy fat to balance hormones.
yep, absolutely.
What
That's
other oh, sorry, I think we're having a delay on the line. I apologize for talking over you. What other positive benefits would a woman in perimenopause or in menopause experience, or even postmenopausal would experience by doing your program?
better mental clarity, better sleep, getting rid of their insulin resistance,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to take out inflammation in their body as well. So if they have, joint aches, like over Thanksgiving, I was a little reckless with my eating. Not that I ate carbs, but I ate like dairy that I don't normally eat and eggs that I don't normally eat. And I could feel it in my palm of my hand, in my knuckle, and in the back of my knee. So realizing how when you eat this way, it's very pain free, that's a huge thing. Their waist will come back because all of that insulin that's, all stored, the excess insulin that's stored on their belly now will start disappearing, and they'll be using that as energy. So there's a lot of really good, I just love the cognitive benefits too, because just
Mm-hmm.
being able to focus, like professional women, they have a lot of demands on their shoulders, and having the brain boost is really important for our careers and, our emotions and how we relate to others. So
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And when you said your waist will come back, what you meant was the space above your hips, that you want to be smaller than your hips, not like garbage waist, but the wonderful place above your hips called the waist will shrink and return. And a lot of that is inflammation, because
Yeah.
when you're on the ketogenic diet, it's so anti-inflammatory, and also it helps the body to reverse and prevent dementia, because the high blood sugar levels lead to dementia, as well as the inflammation and also cancer. So many health
Yeah.
benefits to what you're teaching women. What are the things that you want to say to women who are listening right now, who would be curious or interested in joining your program? Is there anything that they should know about your program, or maybe some qualifiers that they should know about?
Well, the program is launching on January 2nd. And so, because I know that nobody's going to be in the right frame of mind to, like, want to start some total new diet thing or a new lifestyle journey during the holiday season when it's already kind of crazy. There will be things that I'll be sending them to help them baby step into January if they want, or they can just jump all in January. But really, it's knowing what's possible. And some people like I referred to as like Willie Murphy, Ernestine Shepherd, just different women who've at an older age just changed their lifestyle. And I like to ask people, what do you want? What do you want in a year? What do you want in 5 years? How do you want to age? Like you said earlier, Ashley, is that you can have two women the same age and one of them's in a wheelchair and one of them's running marathons.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that in my own family. I see that same gap, that a woman who is 10 years older than another one has so much more vitality in life. And I also think having a community is important because, you know, lifting each other up is important to, like, people in life seem to be so critical and judgmental, and especially when you tell them you're doing keto, they think you're crazy. I thought that before I started doing it. I thought it was kind of crazy. But there's just so many things that they're going to have positive feelings, and it's not easy to start. It's not, because you're going to have to change a lot of habits. And so that's why, like, you can follow directions on my blog and, baby step your way in. I have a free cheat sheet that you can, play with. Um, One thing that people can do if they want to try out keto and baby step it is figure out how many carbs they eat a day now and just gradually decrease it. Like first, like maybe eliminating the white stuff, the sugar stuff, like the baked goods, or at least reducing it by a lot. And once you start feeling the good feelings that you're going to feel, you're going to want more of that good feeling, because the feeling that you get, the satisfaction and pleasure you get from eating like something like, say, a cake or, a donut or whatever type of treat that you enjoy, it lasts for a short time. But the feeling of high energy and, empowerment you're going to feel by changing your lifestyle lasts a lot longer.
Absolutely. And I would say that I love that concept of cutting out the sugar and cutting out everything white, like the flours and the rice and the, like, basically all the grains. What you'd replace it with, what would you say replace, because now that we've eliminated something, what do we eat instead? If someone's used to eating a bagel or muffin for breakfast every morning, what would you replace it with? So we're talking like lots of vegetables and healthy lean meats, or what kind of what would you replace with if you got eliminated the white stuff?
So it depends on their palate. So I think people need to change their palate and stop eating so many sweet tasting foods and have more savory foods. But so for a savory breakfast, I think what's really easy and convenient for busy people on the go is making like a egg and protein and vegetable muffin. So you just make, like, in a cupcake dish, you can make like egg and, like, say, ground beef if you want, vegetables, any type of thing, cheese if you do dairy, but make these little muffin cups, and they're easy to just to grab and go in the morning. Or if you want something that is more on the sweet side, like you can make a chia type pudding or Ashley's special chocolate pudding,
Yes.
which I can't wait to try.
I'll be sending you the recipe.
And I love my mock bulletproof coffees, because I call them a mock bulletproof coffee because I only use 1 teaspoon of fat at a time, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to break my fast. And I know that Jason Fung says if you do just 1 teaspoon, it's not enough calories to actually break your fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel so much better fasting than I do when I eat breakfast.
Have you experimented with more fat and seeing if you still feel the same? Because I've heard contradicting information about what it means to break a fast, and that if you consume more fat, it still doesn't break the fast, because the body is converting it into ketones if you're in ketosis, rather than having to digest it any other way. So I mean, this is all a bunch of people experimenting on their own bodies. I think that's really important for us to try things out and see what works. Like, um, I I'll eat a certain type of pasta. It'll be lentil pasta, for example. If I eat chickpea pasta, I feel the next day as though I had a lot of carbs. But if I ate a lentil pasta, so a pasta made from red lentil flour, I do not feel like I ate carbs the next day. It really, and so I still feel high energy. I feel like I can jump out of bed in the morning. I don't have any brain fog. If I ate a bunch of potatoes right now, tomorrow I'll kind of feel sluggish, and it's only because I have the contrast of what it feels like to be totally clean and only eating really low glycemic index vegetables as my carbs. So when you have that contrast, you can really tell a difference. But people who eat potatoes all the time don't
Right.
know that there's this other way, that there's this life that they could have where they have 20 times more energy and mental clarity and vibrance, and they could feel like they could just jump out of bed and conquer the world, and they feel amazing. no matter what, and they don't get hungry. That's another thing I love about ketosis is you don't get hungry like you do when you're eating carbs. You kind of get hangry if you skip a meal and you want to like kill someone to eat. But if you're in ketosis and you have some body fat, your body can just start turning that into fuel, and it's kind of like okay, like I could take a meal, I could leave it, I could skip it, no problem. Have you noticed that with your clients, that the women you work with, that they're amazed that their hunger goes away? Like it's not like they're not going to eat, but there's no urgency anymore when it comes to food.
And I also think they feel better when they skip a meal oftentimes. Like I feel so much better, but what I like to do is have people start off with their normal 3 meals a day, just have them be low carb, healthy meals like you were suggesting, and then slowly take away one, you know, and just be more in tune with your hunger signals, your physical hunger signals, so that you can reset your leptin and ghrelin hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I like people to remember leptin and ghrelin is you're hungry, so your stomach is growling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then leptin is like you've had enough and you're satisfied. Because I think that we eat on around a clock, oftentimes, like, oh, it's 12 o'clock, we have to have lunch, or it's 6
Right.
o'clock, we have to have dinner, instead of letting our body tell us when it needs nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And sometimes it's really healthy to skip breakfast, and sometimes it isn't. We got to listen to the body. I had breakfast at 11:30 today, and I was like, "Wow, I'm not hungry." And then my husband served up eggs, and because my son and I can eat eggs, and I had a few, and I was like, "I could have not eaten this." That's pretty interesting, because that's just what happens when we get into ketosis, and we're not. If we're eating the low carb, we're not constantly chasing that crash and burn, that where the blood sugar goes up and comes down and goes up and comes down. So we've got like really more stable blood sugar and stable energy. Um, I like it that you're helping people to reprogram their hunger, because we're so used to eating when we're told to. From when we were children, we everyone dictated, as a child, someone else dictated to us when we should eat. So we stopped being conscious of and in tune to our own body signals from a very young age.
yeah, yeah, that's really, really important. So, but I think that we need to be back inside of our body and get out of our head more so we can actually experience a lot of joys of life and just be more mindful of everything that we're doing and paying attention. Like I heard saying today that now in this era in 2017, it's most important to be a good listener. And I
Mm.
would say that's with others and with ourselves.
Mm.
So,
Very well said. And especially you're a health coach, and health coaches we're supposed to listen like a lot.
listen more when we talk. That's why we have two ears and one mouth.
That is what my husband on our first date said. But he did a little hand motion, and where he like had his hand up like a little talking puppet, and he said, "I want to see less of this," as like his hand was moving like a little talking puppet, "and I want to see more of this." And he held the hand still, like ferme la bouche, like shut your lips in French. And it was meant as a joke, but it's so funny because when I get nervous, I can just talk and talk. And our first date did not go well. This is why I say to people, if they're looking for true love, do not judge your future partner by the first date. Worst first date ever, and we are inseparable soulmates. So
Aw.
so yeah, but it's true. We need to, and my husband's the first one I ever heard that from, was said that there's a reason why we have 2 years. But something really healing for your clients, when you're there for them, when they can just speak with you, when you can just listen to them, because it's so rare nowadays where we have someone who, without judgment, can just be there to listen to us.
Right. Right. That's very true. That they even have this some new, I don't know, I heard there's some new thing out there that there's like a talking service that you just go and talk to people that's like online. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's clear that there is a need for that relationship
Mm-hmm.
with people. And I do think it's better to have a safe place where people can trust that there's not going to be judgment or gossip, or that you're just going to love them up and encourage them and push them forward.
Awesome. And now, do you, as a coach, do you work with people like over Skype? Do they get a chance to have you listen to them?
Oh, yeah, it depends on where they're located. Sometimes I do it at their home. Sometimes I do it over the phone because they want to talk while they're commuting home from work, or we'll do it over Skype. It just depends on, them.
Very cool. Well, tell us a bit about your website and how someone could work with you. What does it look like to work with you?
Well, everything's on my website. It's highenergygirl.com. And basically, it depends on the client. They fill out a health assessment with their goals to see what it is they're looking for. I'm most excited about the new program coming out because that is going to be a community program instead of a one-on-one. Um, which I think will be really fun for everyone who want to play in the sandbox. And but usually a normal client that I've just had in the past has just been a one-on-one, and we either do, a 30-day or a 90-day or a 6-month program. And it's all customized to them and it's tweaked along the way so that we can help them create their goals and baby step their way to achieve them. So
Awesome.
fitness, mindset, self-care, depending on where they're coming from in life and where they want to go.
Very cool. Do you have any stories of success that you'd like to share, like a specific story of working with a client that would be really great? Because you said that one of the things you do with your clients right off the bat is you show them these stories of successful people successful women who've come before them so they can start to believe that it's possible. Do you have any stories like that you'd like to share with us today?
Oh yeah. Let's see. My biggest story was I was working with a client who lost 70 pounds in maybe 6 months.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was a really good story. I have another story with a friend who she was having problems with her health, and I finally realized that she had Hashimoto's, and her doctor didn't diagnose it. And so I basically said, I really think you need to go to a specialist, but her doctor didn't, recommend that. And she'd already gone to another specialist, and sure enough, she had Hashimoto's. So, it's like, I think you need to kind of know more about what's going on instead of just focusing. Like, I think when I spoke to you one time, you talked about root cause. And I think that with people with thyroid function, a lot of people have the autoimmune root cause. And that's actually how I found keto, was looking for a nutritional solution for somebody who had Hashimoto's.
Mm.
And that was my first exposure to keto, was that being a solution for autoimmune disease.
Absolutely. Yes. Because it helps heal the gut from leaky gut. And that is one of the things that triggers autoimmune. And, of course, sugar itself, having too much sugar, putting all that stress of inflammation on the body freaks the immune system out also. So there's multiple reasons why the ketogenic diet, when done right, when done healthfully and correctly, is incredibly healing for the immune system.
Right. And with the leaky gut, another thing with that is the food sensitivities that people have and don't realize. Like, I didn't have any clue that I had a sensitivity to eggs. Um, and I was so excited on keto that I ate, tons of cheese because I love cheese. But then I found out I had all these sensitivities, very high on dairy and eggs,
Mm-hmm.
and a few other things that I was eating, like almonds and peanuts. And um, so once I removed them and started taking probiotics, enzymes, and eating lots of fermented foods, then my gut started healing and then the weight just started coming off. So the
Mm.
root cause would be the leaky gut, heal the gut, and then, everything starts to fall into place.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the diet was one of the components that helped you achieve that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the pain level that's gone and the sleeping better. I mean, there's so many benefits I love.
That's cool. Now the
So,
pictures on you of you on your website, are these like 20-year-old pictures, or cuz you look so young and healthy. I cannot believe you're in your 50s. Like seriously, these pictures, you are gorgeous.
oh, well, you're sweet. No, they're not 20 years old. They're 30. No, I'm just kidding. That's just because you can't see super close. They're kind of far away, so you can't see all the wrinkles and the gray hair
Oh,
that has
that's
to
no.
get
Are you
touched
kidding
up.
me? I have like a 40-inch monitor. You are huge. You're more than life size on my monitor. You do not there's no wrinkles. What are you talking about? You look gorgeous, and that's obviously the years that you've spent building up your health. The last 10 years you've spent building up your health in your body. I love your message that it's never too late. And I really want the listeners to know that, and know that for their friends and family, because maybe the listeners have a mom or an aunt who would really benefit from your program. I'd love them to let them know about it. Let's spread this information. Because, in the January 1st, 2019, we could have an entirely different life than we do right now. And it is up to us. And it takes, the 365 actions that are, set in the positive,
Yeah.
that could create just a whole new body for 2019. And I love that what you're doing is setting everyone up for success over the next year. So thank you for coming on the show and sharing. Is there any like homework or was there a challenge that you'd like to give the listeners for now in the next 7 days that they could apply to their life to see a positive shift in their health?
Absolutely. If they want, well, I don't know if they're looking to want to try the keto thing, but my number one thing is writing your vision statement. I do have like a little cheat sheet that can help people if they want to like try to figure out how to go keto really quick. There's like a little 12-step cheat sheet I have that they can try out that's a simple way. Because what I find is most of the programs I've seen are very cookie cutter.
Hmm.
And I don't, we're not all the same. So I think that people need more of a, customized and simple to follow thing, because I got overwhelmed when I started by all the recipes and fancy ingredients that I didn't even know what they were. So I'm very into the simple, just eat. If you look at a traditional plate, you're going to see meat, vegetables, and starch. Well, just eat the meat and the vegetables and put a little bit of butter or olive oil on those the meat and vegetables, and ask for double vegetables and ditch the starch.
Yes,
That's,
double vegetables. Yes.
yeah, that's what I do all the time.
That's cool. I did it the wrong way. Last night we went to Red Robin. We're like, once in a blue moon we do that, and I have the lettuce wrap burger. I asked for double meat. I should have asked for double lettuce. Oh, that's funny. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. So listeners can go to highenergygirl.com and put in their name and email address to get your cheat sheet, to get your swipe file. Also, you've got some great resources on your website, like your podcast. So we should definitely check that out. Anything else that they should know about your website to check out? Any resources they should know about?
Oh gosh, there's so many resources and videos. I have a YouTube channel where I do one video a week. This coming week is going to be talking about how to stop a binge, um, so that you don't binge eat. There's tips on getting more energy into your life. I have a high energy ebook that's out there. I have a food testing page on there that talks about like Dr. Mark Hyman, who I just love. He 10 years ago recorded or 7 years ago recorded a video talking about, food sensitivities and cutting edge and, rotating your diet. That's a big one that people don't know
Mm.
about is is plants, I mean all foods. We need to rotate our diet and not eat the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big thing that I've made mistakes on because I'm busy. So I just cook like, one thing and then I just let it go. Well, what's more important is to, maybe if you're going to eat chicken on Monday, don't eat it again until like Friday. Rotate your foods every 4 days so you don't develop an antibody against that food.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really important to do. And heal your gut with fermented foods. I think fermented foods are something that we just haven't, you know, people aren't doing enough of it, but it's becoming more and more mainstream. And dill pickles, when you buy your dill pickles, don't get them with vinegar. Get them in the cold section and have them just be water, salt, and the dill pickles. Those are fermented dills and really good.
Yes.
I could go on and on, Ashley.
Absolutely. Well, then listeners should tune into your podcast so that they can learn more from you. And
Yeah.
also check out YouTube channel. That would be awesome. So highenergygirl.com. What is the YouTube channel called? Is it also called the High Energy Girl?
You know what? No, unfortunately, it's no, it's Tracee Glue. TraceeGlu is the URL. So
Mm-hmm.
it's youtube.com/Tracee Glue.
But it also is on your website. If they went to your website, they'd be able to find it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Great.
videos on my website. So for
Excellent.
sure.
For sure. Well, thank you for coming on the show and chatting with us today. This is wonderful. And let's stay in touch. Let's have you back because I know you've got lots more to share about. We could do a whole show talking about how wonderful fermented foods are and how healing they are for the gut. I know that's a love of mine.
Aw.
Absolutely. It's been
Another
great
thing in
having you on the
common.
show. Well, yes. I mean, kindred spirits.
Thank you, Ashley.
For
It's been a
sure.
pleasure.
And have a wonderful 2018.
You too, my dear. Thank you so much. Take care.
A few years ago, I had a lot of health issues. My hormones were out of balance. I was always catching colds. My blood sugar was out of control. I had no energy. I felt tired all the time. I had a lot of brain fog with regular headaches and trouble sleeping. I was miserable. I knew there had to be an answer to my problems, and after a few years of searching, I found it. Natural medicine turned me onto supplements and showed me the foods I should avoid for better health. But why did I need supplements to gain my health back? Don't we get enough nutrition from our food? I looked into this further and found out that our food supply has been compromised. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's nutritional data shows that our fruits and vegetables contain significantly less nutrition compared to 50 and 70 years ago. Without enough nutrients, our body becomes compromised. Our immune system weakens, our energy levels, hormones, every system in our body becomes jeopardized. With the increase in pesticides that leach minerals from our soils, GMO crops that have unknown side effects to our genetic makeup, and the fact that most of us are eating significantly more manufactured foods than our grandparents, which contain fewer micronutrients, we're not getting enough nutrition our body needs each day to repair and fight off disease. This is why, along with a healthy diet, taking supplements is so important to the integrity of our body. I found out that we need 90 essential nutrients every day, and we're not getting it from our food. 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids, and 60 minerals to support the 37.2 trillion cells in our body. Now, most of us know we should take supplements, but which one should we take? What do we actually need? How many should we take each day? Which ones are the best quality for the best price? If you have supplement confusion, then I have your solution. Speak with a true health coach today and they will help you, like they helped me, to order the right supplements for you, dosed by your body weight. I've been taking these supplements for 5 years now and I feel amazing. We're all on this health journey together. Come join me in feeling better. Visit takeyoursupplements.com and speak with your true health coach today. They're fantastic and they're free to speak to. They will help you order the right supplements for you. That's takeyoursupplements.com. Takeyoursupplements.com.